Sunday, 14 August 2022. Today's, in this Skidmark, I'm going to talk about something that is traditional in South Africa, and it's called a braai. Now, in other countries, they call it a barbecue or a grilling or something like that. But in South Africa, we call it a braai. And that is when you cook meat on flames. And there are many programs and channels focusing on it, but after I've done that Skidmark about defensive eating, I got some messages about preparation of stuff and so forth. And I had some questions about how I make chips and so. And I decided, alright, let's braai. Nou gaan ons braai. Now for me, I'm not a guy that believes in lots of different dishes on a plate. I minimize it to 3, maybe with a push to 4. Because I believe that if you make too many components for a meal, people don't get the opportunity to really enjoy what is there. Because they take 1 spoon of every offering and they end up with a big plate of food, and then they want seconds and they go for those things that they liked a lot, and that is how you overeat. Because I am a firm believer that the most important component in watching your weight is portion control, not what you eat, how much you eat. And that's my philosophy. I may be wrong, I don't care, but it works for me. And so on this Saturday night, we decided to have steak and chips. Now, let's start with the chips. I take my potatoes, I select the potatoes, which is enough for me and my wife, and then I put it in a steamer in the microwave for 10 minutes. You can boil it as well. Just boil it until it's beginning to get soft. Well, I would say about 20, maybe 25 minutes. Then the next part of the process is to skin those potatoes after they come out of the microwave. And I do the skinning with a fork, and you will see why. That allows me to take the skins off, and it leaves marks and grooves and rough edges on the potato. And then you can see the skin has been taken off. And then I slice the potato like this, almost like you slice a bread. And I slice them about 10 to 15 millimeters slices, about a finger. For me, it's a finger wide. That's how I slice them. I then chop those slices up. Every slice I'll cut in 4 pieces roughly. And you must work careful with it, because the potato is now cooked and it can break apart very easily. And that is what I end up with, all those small slices. Now, this is not traditional chips, but this is how I like it, because for me, the important part of a potato chip is I like the crispy skin and the soft inside. But it is important that it must be crispy, and you don't want that thing to come out of the fryer and it's nice, and then 5 minutes on the plate and it's soft and soggy. Then I go for the first fry. And it's important, my oil temperature run at 170 degrees. And I know there's a lot of chefs and cooks and so will tell you now, and it must be higher and what. I don't do it. I do it at 170 because I get a slow cook and the potato gets a chance, an opportunity to form a nice crust. So after about 90 seconds, I lift the basket. And it's very important when you drop it down in the first time that you don't shake that basket, because that potato is boiled and it will break apart if you're working rough with it. I just sink it into the oil, and you must check it, because if your oil fryer is a little bit on the overfill side, there's a lot of moisture in the potatoes, and that oil fryer may overcook and boil over, and then it is a real mess. So 90 seconds like that, and then I lift it out and let it stand for about a minute. And then I put it back into the fryer again for about 2 minutes. And now you can shake it, you can shake it, but shake it gently. Don't be too rough with it. Just shake it gently, because there is now already a little bit of a crust forming on it. And then I take it out and let it stand. Now we get to the meat. Now I do my meat, I do cold aging. My butcher vacuum packs the cuts for me, and I keep it in my fridge. I've got a special fridge for myself, and that fridge runs at 4 degrees C, and I keep the meat in that vacuum packs in that fridge. And this piece of meat that you're looking at here is what we call it's a cut that we call a rump tail, and that rump tail was packed in March this year, and it was just over 150 days when I opened it yesterday. I then spice it and rub it with a little bit of olive oil, and I just put a barbecue mix spice and crushed pepper on it, and then I close it with cling wrap, and it stands on the table in the kitchen for about an hour, hour and a half to reach room temperature. Then I take it to the grill. Now, this is a gas grill, and there's a lot of stories about gas and coal and fires and all of that. I am a guy that don't like, if I want to have a nice gathering around the fire, we make fire for that. But when it comes to cooking the meat, I don't take chances, and I don't like to wait 20, 40, 50 minutes for the fire to get ready and so forth. I've got a very good gas grill, and I've been cooking on gas since the 90s, and that's how it is. We make fire for atmosphere, and I cook on gas. And this is a gas griller that I have. I preheat the gas griller and for about 15-20 minutes, and then I put the meat in. Put it down like that, with in this case the fat side up. Now this is the grill that I use. It's got a lid that closes. I close that lid and I leave that meat in there for 4 minutes. After 4 minutes, I'll open it and I'll turn it around on the other side and let that side go for 4 minutes, and then I just check it. Depending on the thickness of the piece of meat, I may give it another 2 minutes per side, and that is how it ends up. And now, while the meat is now resting, I continue with the potatoes, and it goes back into the oil, and it is then that I check it visually. It takes about 2, maybe 3 minutes to get it to this stage, as you can see on the picture. And here's the meat on the board, busy resting, and that's the cut. And you can see it's nice, medium rare with a nice crust, and exactly as I like it. And once again, if you look on the right hand side, that's a thinner piece of the steak. That's where I cut for my wife, because she doesn't like medium rare. And this is the final of the potatoes. And as you can see on that picture, those potatoes look appetizing, and they are crisp, and they're nice and soft on the inside. But for me, the crust is everything. That crust is everything. I do not compromise on that. And this was the final plate. So it was steak, chips, and a mixed salad. And here's a close-up of the meat. I just put coarse salt on it, and here's a close-up look of the potatoes. And that potatoes stay crispy right up to the end. That's how it looks. And I like it like that. And once again, 170 degrees temperature in the deep fryer. Well, I hope you enjoyed this, because this is for me a braai, and I like it. And it is simple food. For me it is simple food. As you can see on that plate, there's only a limited number of components, but each one of the components has got a specific taste and texture of its own. And By the way, that flowers is nasturtiums. It comes out of my garden. I eat them. I take the leaves and I wrap them around one of the pieces of potato, and that's how I eat. And I'm a simple guy. But I hope that this was informative for you, and you can surely try to make your chips like this. You will be surprised, because we are so used to always looking and admiring these things that we see on photographs and so forth, and then we believe we can't do it. You can do it. Trust me, you can do it. All you need to do is you need a little bit of guidance and you need patience. And for me, it is important that when you work with food, you must focus. And now, I hope you are going to try this, and let me know in the comments. Please like, subscribe, share the thing, and tell me what you like and what you prefer. And I'm going to do more Skidmarks on food for sure, because food is a big part of my life. I love it to cook. I'm not a chef, I'm a home cook, but I love it, and I've been cooking since I was a very small boy. My grandmother and my mother, they trained me in the kitchen. And I've asked them many times, because they taught me how to sew and how to crochet and all those things. And one day I asked my mother, now why are you teaching me to work with needles and thread, work with the food and so forth? And her words to me was simply this: who knows, maybe you marry a woman that cannot do these things, and at least you will be able to look after yourself and your wife. And on that note, have a great day, and now let's braai.